The Red Sea, 05, 18 hours, local time, 112 nautical miles north of the Bab-el-Mandeb Strait in the narrow southern channel, where the Red Sea compresses between the Yemeni coast to the east and the Eritrean and Djiboutian coastlines to the west. The waterway that carries 12% of global maritime trade narrows to a navigable corridor less than 18 nautical miles wide between the shoal water flanking both coasts. It is precisely this compression, this geographic inevitability, that forces every vessel transiting from the Gulf of Aden into the Red Sea through the same restricted band of navigable water, that makes the southern Red Sea the most operationally significant choke point in the world for mine warfare. A relatively small number of mines placed in the right positions within that 18-mile corridor can force every merchant vessel to choose between transit risk and diversion around the Cape of Good Hope. A diversion that adds 17 days and $1 million in fuel costs to every voyage. The Houthi movement's military planners understand this. They have understood it for years. And 3 nights ago, they acted on it. The intelligence picture that confirmed what happened 3 nights ago arrived at the Joint Maritime Information Center in Bahrain at 03:41 hours this morning in the form of a signals intelligence report derived from collection against Houthi Naval Operations Communications. The report confirmed what commercial shipping companies had been reporting to Lloyd's of London for 36 hours, that the MV COSCO Shanghai, a 294-meter container vessel operating under Chinese registry, had struck an underwater object at a position 67 nautical miles north of Bab-el-Mandeb at 23:17 hours 2 nights prior, sustaining hull damage consistent with a mine strike on her port bow at frame 14, and had been towed to Djibouti with 9 meters of flooding in her forward cargo hold. The intelligence report also confirmed what the MV Shanghai's damage pattern had already suggested. The object she struck was not a floating mine that had broken free from a mooring somewhere in the Red Sea. It was a deliberate weapon. It was placed there. And if the signals intelligence collection was accurate about the scope of the Houthi operation, and the JMIC's analysts assessed it at high confidence, it was not placed alone. The southern Red Sea, maritime exclusion zone that combined maritime forces activated at 400 hours this morning, has stopped all commercial traffic in both directions through the corridor north of Bab-el-Mandeb. 41 vessels are holding position in international waters south of the zone boundary, waiting. Their collective cargo, electronics, automotive parts, clothing, food commodities, crude oil in 5 separate tankers, represents approximately $2.8 billion in goods in transit. Every hour the zone remains closed adds to the demurrage costs, the insurance premium adjustments, and the logistical disruption that propagates backward through supply chains from Rotterdam to Shanghai. The Houthis know these numbers. They have studied maritime economics with the focused attention of an organization that has discovered, through 2 years of attacking Red Sea shipping, that economic disruption is a more sustainable strategic tool than military confrontation. They are counting on the mine-clearing operation taking days. They are counting on every day of closure generating headline numbers that serve their information operation. The Mine Countermeasures Task Group that departed Djibouti at 04:12 hours this morning was assembled in 41 minutes from a standing ready posture that has been maintained at Camp Lemonnier's Naval Support Facility for 14 months. The assembly time reflects planning that was completed before the mines were laid. Planning against the specific contingency of a Houthi mining operation in the Bab-el-Mandeb approaches that the intelligence community has assessed as a high probability threat since the Houthi Red Sea campaign began escalating in late 2023. The task group consists of USS Champion, MCM-4, an Avenger-class mine countermeasures ship, 224 feet, purpose-built for exactly this mission, and USS Devastator, MCM-6, a second Avenger class, proceeding at their maximum sustained transit speed of 12 knots toward the designated search area. Ahead of them, already on scene, is the element that will define the pace of this operation. A P-8A Poseidon that departed Naval Air Station Sigonella 11 hours ago and has been orbiting at 18,000 feet above the search area since 0230 hours. Its AN/A-PY-10 radar in surface search mode, looking for the signature anomalies that indicate moored or bottom-laid mines in the approaches to the corridor. And already in the water, 3 nautical miles ahead of where the Champion will establish its search datum, are 2 Mk-18 Mod 2 Kingfish autonomous underwater vehicles that were launched from an MH-60S Seahawk helicopter at 0449 hours, before the Champion had even cleared the harbor entrance. The Kingfish vehicles are running their pre-programmed search lanes at 6 knots, their synthetic aperture sonar systems painting the seafloor in 120-meter swaths, transmitting their imagery to the MH-60S, orbiting overhead via acoustic modem, and from the MH-60S to the Champion's MCM Analysis Center via data link. The first seafloor imagery is on the Champion's displays before her commanding officer has finished his first cup of coffee. But this operation has a dimension that the Hormuz mining scenario did not. The Houthis know the mine countermeasures task group is coming. They planned for it. Their maritime surveillance network, a combination of commercial AIS tracking, coastal observation posts along the Yemeni shoreline, and the signal intelligence support that IRGC advisors have been providing since the Red Sea campaign began, tracked the Champion and Devastator departing Djibouti within minutes of their departure. And the Houthis have positioned assets along the eastern edge of the search area to complicate the clearing operation, in a way that mine clearance in the Persian Gulf does not typically involve. A battery of Chinese-supplied C-802 coastal defense missiles, the same Nor variant that equips Iranian surface vessels, emplaced at a position on the Yemeni coast 34 nautical miles east of the search area, plus 2 truck-mounted BM-21 multiple rocket launcher systems positioned to provide area fire against surface contacts within 22 nautical miles of the coast. The MCM ships are required to operate in water that is within range of both systems. The Houthis intend to make the mine clearing operation as costly as possible. They have not planned for the USS Gravely, DDG-107, and Arleigh Burke, Flight 2, a guided missile destroyer positioned 28 nautical miles southwest of the search area at 0412 hours when the task group departed Djibouti, now closing at 28 knots to her assigned support position 18 nautical miles west of the datum. The Gravely's mission in this operation is not mine countermeasures. It is force protection. Her AN/SPY-1DV radar is sweeping the Yemeni coastline at full power, its surface search mode providing continuous tracking of every vehicle, vessel, and mobile launcher position within its detection range. Her AN/ALQ-99 electronic warfare suite, in cooperation with the EA-18G Growler, orbiting at 26,000 feet 90 nautical miles to the west, is monitoring the C-802 battery's fire control radar for any emission that indicates a targeting solution being generated against the MCM ships. And her Mark 45 5-inch gun, loaded with GPS-guided extended-range munition rounds and trained east toward the Yemeni coast, has a fire mission prepared against the C-802 launcher positions if those positions activate their targeting systems. The EA-18G, call sign VOODOO-3 from Electronic Attack Squadron 134, the same unit whose Growlers defeated the Russian Baltic EW package 6 weeks earlier, is carrying a full electronic attack load, including the NGJ centerline pod and 2 HARM high-speed anti-radiation missiles. The HARM is specifically designed for the suppression of enemy air defense radars. It homes on the radio frequency emissions of an active radar system, following the emission to its source and delivering a 66-kilogram warhead against the antenna array, a C-802's monoblock fire control radar, and an air search radar associated with the BM-21 position both emit in frequency bands that the harm seeker covers. If either radar activates in a targeting mode against the MCM ships or the Gravely, VOODOO-3's harm will be in the air within 40 seconds. At 0551 hours, the first Kingfish contact is logged. Bearing 078 degrees, range 2.8 nautical miles from the datum, at 31 meters depth on a seafloor that averages 38 meters in this part of the channel. The sonar image shows a cylindrical object, 1.4 meters in length, 0.35 meters in diameter, with a mooring wire ascending vertically to approximately 8 meters depth. A standard moored contact mine consistent with the LUGM-145 pattern, or its Chinese-produced equivalent. The MCM analyst aboard the Champion classifies the contact as a confirmed mine-like object and marks the position on the tactical chart. The Kingfish continues its search lane. Second contact at 0603 hours. Third at 0614 hours. By 0630 hours, with both Kingfish vehicles having completed 6 search lanes across the primary corridor approach, the chart shows 11 mine-like objects distributed across the navigable channel in a pattern that reflects deliberate tactical thinking. The mines are not randomly dispersed. They are positioned in clusters at the 3 points where the channel geometry is narrowest. The points where a vessel navigating the shoal avoidance requirements of the southern Red Sea approach is most predictably confined to a narrow track. The Houthis did not simply scatter mines in the water. They studied the nautical charts, identified the minimum width navigation choke points, and placed their weapons where any vessel passing through the corridor would have the least room to maneuver around them. This is competent operational planning. At 0641 hours, the Houthi coastal battery makes its first move. The C-802's monoblock fire control radar activates on a bearing of 097 degrees from VOODOO-3's position. The EA-18G's ALQ-218 wideband receiver detects the emission in 1.1 seconds and identifies it by waveform signature as the monoblock system. The radar is active for 4 seconds. In those 4 seconds, it generates a targeting quality track on the Champion, the Devastator, and the Gravely. Then it shuts down. No missile is fired. The activation is a probe, an assessment of whether the radar's emission will provoke an immediate harm response, and if so, how quickly that response comes. VOODOO-3's pilot has had his thumb over the harm release button since the monoblock activated. He did not release. The 4-second activation was too brief for a confident harm shot. The seeker needs a minimum emission duration to lock the source, and 4 seconds at 34 nautical miles is at the edge of the reliable acquisition envelope for this geometry. The Growler pilot communicates the activation to the Gravely and the MCM ships via secure radio and notes the monoblock's precise emission frequency in his ALQ-218 collection log. If it activates again, the next harm shot will be faster. At 0648 hours, the first MH-53E Sea Dragon arrives on scene from Camp Lemonnier, its crew of 6 settling into the systematic mine-sweeping pattern that the mission brief specified before takeoff. The MH-53E is the largest helicopter in the United States military inventory, and tonight it is carrying the Mark 103 mechanical mine-sweeping system, a 600-meter cable assembly fitted with explosive cutters that sever the mooring wires of contact mines, allowing them to surface for destruction. The MH-53E flies 200 feet above the water at 25 knots, its sweeping cable trailing beneath it, covering the first search lane that the Kingfish survey identified as containing 3 mine-like objects. At 0701 hours, the first mine surfaces. A moored contact mine of what appears to be Chinese manufacture. its black spherical casing riding the swells 1.4 nautical miles east of the sweep lane's southern terminus. A Mark V special operations craft, which has been standing by 800 meters downrange of the expected surfacing position since 0655 hours, puts a single .50 caliber round through the mine casing at 400 meters range. The mine incapacitates in a white column of water. At 0709 hours, the monoblock radar activates again. This time the emission lasts 11 seconds, long enough. VOODOO-3's harm launches at 0709 hours and 04 seconds, its seeker locked to the monoblock's emission frequency and geographic position. The harm travels at Mach 2 across 34 nautical miles of Red Sea airspace in approximately 96 seconds. The monoblock radar shuts down at 0709 hours and 09 seconds, 5 seconds after it activated, 6 seconds before the harm seeker would have lost guidance had it been tracking a still active emitter. But the harm's guidance system has already computed a terminal ballistic trajectory to the last known emitter position and switches to inertial navigation for the terminal phase. The harm impacts at 0710 hours and 42 seconds. The C-802 battery's fire control radar is rendered inoperable. No further monoblock emissions are detected from that position for the remainder of the operation. The BM-21 position activates at 0718 hours. Its associated air search radar pinging once before. The operator apparently receives word of the monoblock's fate and decides against further emissions. The single ping is collected by VOODOO-3's ALQ-218. The BM-21 position is now precisely located. The Gravely's fire control computer completes a targeting solution against both the BM-21 and the now silent C-802 launcher positions using the GPS coordinates derived from VOODOO-3's direction-finding data and the Gravely's own Spy-1D surface track. The Mark 45 5-inch gun is trained to the appropriate bearing. No fire mission is ordered. The BM-21 has not engaged, and the Gravely's commanding officer's authorization threshold requires an active engagement or an imminent engagement indicator. But the BM-21 crew, observing from their position on the Yemeni coast that the fire control radar associated with their sister battery has just been struck by a supersonic missile they never saw coming, apparently reaches its own assessment of the situation. The BM-21 vehicles are observed by the P-8A's electro-optical sensor system, departing their position at 0724 hours, moving west on a road toward the interior. They do not return. With the coastal threat effectively neutralized, the MCM operation accelerates. The Navy EOD platoon, 12 divers from EOD Mobile Unit 1, who deployed to Djibouti 2 weeks prior as part of the standing MCM contingency package, begins its first dive at 0731 hours. The search area's eastern sector contains 4 mine-like objects that the Kingfish classified as potential bottom influence mines, identified by their lack of mooring wire return in the sonar imagery and their resting position directly on the seafloor. These require investigation and manual neutralization. The dive conditions are challenging: 31 meters depth, 1.2 knot current running northeast along the channel, visibility of approximately 4 meters in the silted water. The divers use their standard approach protocol: closed-circuit rebreathers, non-magnetic equipment, conservative exclusion zone standoff distances, and work methodically through the 4 contacts over 93 minutes. All 4 are confirmed as Manta-type influence mines, an Iranian-derived bottom mine design that the Houthis have been observed deploying in limited quantities since 2022. 2 carry magnetic fuse assemblies only. 2 carry combined magnetic acoustic fuse packages. All 4 are neutralized with Mark 57 disposal charges, one by one in controlled detonations that produce brief geysers of disturbed water. over the 30-meter deep sea floor. At 09, 12 hours, 3 hours, and 23 minutes after the first Kingfish contact, the Champion's MCM Operations Center completes its post-sweep survey assessment. 14 mine-like objects were identified in the primary corridor. 14 have been addressed, 7 by MH-53E mechanical sweep and subsequent surface destruction, 4 by EOD Dive Team Mark 57 disposal, and 3 by a second Kingfish survey sweep that located additional contacts in a secondary lane. Survey confidence in the cleared corridor, 91%, reflecting the statistical limits of any mine clearance operation against a threat that may include undetected bottom mines in the channel's deeper sediment layers. The corridor width, certified as cleared, 2.4 nautical miles, sufficient for single-lane vessel transit with adequate margin on both sides. At 0924 hours, Combined Maritime Forces issues a modified traffic advisory for the southern Red Sea approach corridor. Single-lane transit authorized in the certified clear lane, both directions under naval escort, at speeds not exceeding 12 knots. The first vessel to transit under the modified advisory is the MV Nordic Odyssey, a 188-meter general cargo vessel that has been holding south of the exclusion zone boundary since 0430 hours. Her crew on the bridge watching the smoke from 2 controlled detonations visible on the horizon to their north. The Gravely takes position 1.4 nautical miles ahead of the Nordic Odyssey as she enters the cleared lane. The Champion runs parallel 0.8 nautical miles to the east, her sonar active, watching the cleared corridor's eastern margin. The P-8A remains overhead. The Nordic Odyssey transits the cleared corridor in 51 minutes and exits the northern boundary of the exclusion zone at 10:17 hours. Her master transmits a brief message to CMF on Channel 16 at 118 hours. The cleared corridor is passable, the escort was professional, and he is proceeding north toward the Suez Canal entrance. 4 more vessels follow the Nordic Odyssey through the cleared lane over the next 2 hours, each under Gravely escort, each passing through water that 41 EOD and MCM professionals spent 4 hours clearing under the threat of coastal missile fire. Let us now examine what the Houthis attempted strategically and why the operational outcome falls significantly short of their objectives. Because the failure is more nuanced than the simple mine count suggests. The Houthi mining operation achieved its primary economic objective temporarily. The southern Red Sea corridor was closed for 5 hours and 19 minutes, from the activation of the exclusion zone at 0400 hours to the first transit clearance at 0924 hours. The shipping companies holding south of the zone boundary were delayed by those 5 hours. The insurance market will adjust premiums upward, marginally, for transits through the corridor in the coming weeks. A moderate economic disruption signal was generated and will appear in the Houthi Information Operations reporting cycle. These are not trivial achievements. What the Houthi operation did not achieve is its secondary objective, prolonging the closure by using the C-802 and BM-21 threat to slow or interrupt the MCM operation. The coastal threat was neutralized in 61 minutes through harm employment against the active fire control radar. The BM-21 threat was eliminated by the decision of its own crew within 15 minutes of the harm strike. The MCM operation was not materially slowed by the coastal threat. The MH-53E, the EOD teams, and the Kingfish vehicles operated throughout the threat window with no interruption because the Gravely's force protection posture and VOODOO-3's harm availability made activation of the coastal systems an unacceptably costly choice for the Houthi operators. This is the specific lesson that the harm strike communicates to every Houthi coastal battery operator in the Red Sea theater. Activating your fire control radar against an MCM operation that includes an EA-18G Growler in the overhead produces a harm within 96 seconds. The 4-second probe at 0641 hours tested this response. The 11-second activation at 0709 hours confirmed it. The monoblock radar is inoperable. The lesson has been transmitted at the speed of Mach 2. The southern Red Sea corridor is open. 41 vessels are transiting in orderly sequence through the certified clear lane under naval escort. The Houthis laid mines to close a waterway that carries 12% of global trade. The waterway was closed for 5 hours and 19 minutes. American mine countermeasures professionals, operating with equipment specifically designed for this mission and supported by a force protection architecture that eliminated the coastal threat in 61 minutes, reopened it before the business day began in Rotterdam. The Red Sea is not a Houthi lake. It is not a mining range where weapons can be deployed without consequence and without a professional response that measures its timeline in hours rather than days. The MV Nordic Odyssey is making 14 knots north toward the Suez Canal entrance, her cargo intact, her master satisfied, the Gravely a shrinking gray shape on her stern horizon. The corridor is open. Bye for now.